Hey, I'm Zachy Hennessy, and you're watching BLOCKTV. Now, I do my best to cover the art of the cryptosphere, and more often than not, I'm surprised by the talent and effort that some crypto artists put into their work. CryptoGraffiti is one such artist, and I'm pleased to say that we've got him here today to talk a little bit about his work. CryptoGraffiti, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Greetings from California.
Cool. So let's start at the beginning. When did you come into your own as an artist, and when did you decide to start putting your talent towards Bitcoin?
So late 2011 was when I first heard about Bitcoin. I was working on a project with a developer, and he wanted to be paid in crypto. So I researched how to do it, and I just was frustrated by the complexity. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how to find it or how to buy it, or definitely not how to mine it. And then all the forums were just full with jargon. So I kind of just wrote the whole thing off as being something for programmers. But living in San Francisco, you tend to hear about trends early. So it would come up in conversation from time to time. And I got the general premise of it, this idea of money without intermediaries. That made sense to me, but it was really kind of on many different levels that it started to hit home, because I came from a family of artists. And so seeing some of the trials and tribulations that they had with like the opacity of transactions, like if a piece sold and a check came in the mail, we didn't know if this was the actual amount that was owed. There were just many instances where Bitcoin started to make more sense in day-to-day occurrences. And it's kind of like when you're in the market for a car or something, you start to see it on the street all the time. And so fast forward to late 2012, I came across Cassatius coins. These are these little physical collectible Bitcoins. And I remember thinking, like, thank God there's someone doing something creative in the space, not just programmers. And so also around that time was when I heard about micropayments. And so not only was there this big grand idea of how cryptocurrency can separate money from state and just the gigantic disruption that would happen in and of itself, but also some of the innovation that could happen with crypto micropayments. For example, thwarting like DDoS attacks or email spam if a negligible amount of money was being charged for things like logging into a website or sending an email. And so that really, really blew my mind and started to get me to fall down the rabbit hole even further. So yeah, well, I didn't really know much about the underpinnings of the technology. I knew that it was here to stay, kind of by design, and that it would need art to help catch on. And there just weren't many artists in the space. So that's what led me to start experimenting.
Okay, interesting. So then, you're saying you found out about cryptocurrency, you blew it off, and then eventually came back to it. And now you are, an esteemed artist on Twitter in the cryptosphere, and I'd like to know a little bit about, specifically your contributions to the art world in the blockchain community. Can you tell me a little bit about what makes your contributions to the cryptosphere unique?
I want to reach out beyond just our bubble. I think it's easy to sort of fall into this trap of the dopamine hits that you get from social media when you're talking within your community, and I want to be unique in that I want to continue to reach outside and to try and show the benefits of what this technology is all about to others. And for me, it's just really important because I think there's a lot of good that this can do for the world. And yeah, I guess in terms of uniqueness, maybe just like the materials that I use. Mm-hmm. There's now, fortunately, many artists in the space, and we all kind of bring our own takes. And I think it's just really important that we have a way of fighting back against mainstream media. Bitcoin doesn't have a PR team. It's important that we can write some of the fears that they put out, and important to just be able to combat the the status quo, because I think our biggest fights are in front of us. I don't think we've really seen anything yet.
Fascinating. So, you mentioned that, you want to break outside of this bubble and move beyond social media. And, that shows in your work. A lot of your work involves affecting directly the outside world around you, from, like Bitcoin stickers in an IKEA to, stealing pens from a bank for material in a piece. So in your experience, do you find that your work has actually worked to present Bitcoin to a mainstream audience?
Yeah, it has. It's brought about, I guess, personally, a lot of conversations. I was fortunate to have an exhibit a couple of years ago in downtown San Francisco. So Digital Garage, who are big proponents of cryptocurrency, it's where the San Francisco Bitcoin meetups are often held. They allowed me to have an ongoing exhibit in their space, which was just prime real estate right on Market Street. And so I literally talked to thousands of people who would come in, seeing the Bitcoin accepted here sign, and walk them through the gallery and talk to them about this movement. And I remember one conversation in particular where it was someone whose brother was already in the space, but maybe due to sibling rivalry or for one reason or another, he just didn't grok what was going on. He kind of like tuned it out, maybe like I did initially. And so when he saw that I was doing art, it sort of brought the barrier down, and he kind of just looked at me and was like what is this all about? I think it allows art allows people to get a sense of what something's all about and really distill it down to its essence and open it up to a wider group of people, especially with something as technologically advanced as blockchain and all the concepts that are related to it. It's not easy for people to get at a glance, and so art helps people get their head around it a little bit easier.
Right. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that something that's unique about Bitcoin is that even though it is at its core, just a digital currency, it's a financial asset that inspires so many people to be creative and share their artwork. So based on your experience in the field, what do you think is really the most motivating factor for artists like yourself to use your talents toward this and not something else that's in the space?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's shifted for me over time. Early on, a lot of the talking points were around like micropayments and things like remittances. And as we've had things happen like the fees increasing, that the narrative has shifted a bit more to the store of value, which isn't a bad thing. They both have amazing use cases. And so my art has kind of followed that too. I've had ideas that are centered around micropayments and some of the crazy future innovations that those will hold, and I'm working on them now, and I'm really excited about them. But also, like more on the store of value front, it gets you focusing on areas where you might not normally delve into, like the 4 billion people that are under oppressive rule. And sometimes I'll get people ask like how do you try and like make art about this intangible thing? But if you look deeper about what it's really all about and trying to do, then it's like a nonstop source of inspiration.
Fascinating. Okay, sure. And so you mentioned, future innovations, things that you hope to accomplish in the future with the art. Can you share a little bit about your future plans and kind of some of the projects that you're thinking about moving forward?
Yeah. So I've got a lot simultaneously going right now. Knock on wood or mica or whatever this is. I'm working on something that sort of relates to this project that I did down at the Venezuelan border. It's related to collaborative work, and it does involve lightning. And so if all goes well, I'll be presenting that in a couple of months. And it's a way for artists to have another revenue stream, and also to just help with the virality of their work, to get more people involved, which has a number of different benefits, not only for them in promoting their work, but also just getting more people turned on to what cryptocurrency is all about.
All right, cool. Well, listen, I look forward to following your future exploits on Twitter and otherwise, but for now, that's all the time that we've got. So CryptoGraffiti, thank you so much for joining us. And for all those watching, thank you very much. I'm Zachy Hennessy, and this is BLOCKTV. Keep it locked.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter